Welcome to the Quantum Revenue Expansion Podcast. My name is Ursula, and I'm a sales expert, strategic business coach, and USA Today bestselling author. I love sharing strategies that show you exactly how to turn your annual revenue into your monthly revenue. If you're looking to take a quantum leap in your revenue or sales, your team, your productivity, your success, and your life, then you are meant to be here. My goal in every episode is to help you take your belief that it's possible to 2x or 10x your revenue while working way less to knowing that it is happening right now. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Quantum Revenue Expansion, where we talk about turning your annual income into your monthly income. Super excited to be doing another solo show with you today. It's not going to be a super long show, but it's going to be a very important show because we're going to talk about the 5 strategies to accelerate your profit now. 5 strategies to accelerate your profit right now, not tomorrow, not yesterday, but now. The profit is the conversation we are having with our CEOs, with prospective clients. It's such a critical piece of business, yet it's often overlooked for those very sexy other things like sales, top line revenue, gross profit. And while all of those contribute to your net profit, sometimes we got to reverse engineer this process to make sure that you're hitting the profit percentages that you desire. So what is a good profit percentage, right? Well, it depends what kind of business you're in. For those in service-based businesses with a good gross margin, if you can crack a 20 to 30% net profit, you're rocking it. You're doing great. Rebecca Hall, my co-coach, might say that you're not planning your spending very well, because sometimes, having higher profits can also be an indicator that there's monies that need to be spent, or you're going to be paying a lot more in taxes. So it's kind of like weighing it all out. But if like I'm hitting a 20 or 30% net every month, then you can plan accordingly and spend more money before the end of the year, that kind of thing. If you're listening to this and you're like, I have no idea what my profit is, you're not alone. This is also an area that we find, most people don't spend a lot of time in. So no shame in the game. We're business owners. We're often focused on, top line activities and sales and marketing and bringing money in. And, that's why I really wanted to do this show. It's also why we created the profit calculator this year. Because people would always ask me like, how do I figure out my profit? And I thought, gosh, how you have a mortgage calculator and it's super easy and super fast. And you can figure out very quickly, like how much your mortgage is going to be at, now like 6% or whatever, or 5.9%, right? On a 30-year fixed loan, what is my monthly payment? I thought, wouldn't it be cool if we had a profit calculator that would just give us that information? So I went to Trisha on my team and I'm like, Trisha, can you figure this out? And she's like, of course I can figure this out. So she worked with somebody to get it done. We now have a profit calculator. Also, in the month of September, this is all connected. We have opened up 6 spots at the CEO table. The CEO table is our signature year-long coaching and mastermind group where we've helped clients double, triple, and even more than that, some we've lost count, their annual sales while maintaining a healthy profit in their business, or actually growing a healthier profit in their business. So if you've been looking for a group, a community that can really support you in growing your business in the next 12 months, and you're looking for private coaching as well, we got it all. You get masterminding, you get coaching, you get to work with other CEOs who are making it happen, who are a little bit ahead of you probably, or some are way ahead of you, which is great because they pull you to that next level. And we also host quarterly classes, and you meet with us in a group scenario 3 times a month, and then you have private coaching as well. So it's very complete and very holistic. I designed our CEO table based on what I would love to have in a coaching and masterminding group. So anyway, so if that's something you're interested in, we are now we've moved from the wait list to taking applications. You can apply. There's a link in the show notes to apply. And when you apply, you will get access to our profit calculator just for applying. And the profit calculator can help you figure out what we're talking about today and get those answers. So again, if that's something you're thinking about doing, definitely take a look in the show notes, click on the link, and send your application in. Today, again, we're going to talk about the five strategies to accelerate your profit. And this was also inspired by a meeting that Rebecca and I had with some clients recently. And they have a successful business, multi-millions already, doing well, growing their company. And that's what I love about being in coaching, right? Because you could be doing well, but not do super well, or not be doing the double that you want. Like, they're comfortable, but they weren't getting where they wanted to go. And so, during a session, I asked a couple coaching questions because, as a coach, my job is to dissect. Like, I'm like dissecting, like, what's going on, diagnosing the disconnect of the problem that's going on in the business so we can figure out why they're not as profitable, why they don't have as much business as they want. And pretty quickly, we were able to figure that out, Rebecca and I together, just that, why they were missing sales, why they were missing profit. And as usual, like, it wasn't as complicated as they thought it was going to be. And, we diagnosed it pretty quickly and then came up with a path that they were very excited about. And this path, what we figured out, was not only a path for them to double their revenue, their annual revenue or more, but also to really increase their profitability. And the cool part is they were sitting on the way to do it. Like, the opportunities were right there. They just couldn't see them in that moment. And to me, that's what coaching is about. My job as a coach, Rebecca's job as a coach, is to help our clients see the opportunities that they can't see, right? And to, get rid of the costs or lower the cost, shift their pricing structure, whatever it might be, so that they can get to the revenue goals and they can get to the profitability that they desire. That's what I'm going to take you through today, kind of a high level version of what we did with those clients so that you can see, take a look at your own business. So the first strategy to really accelerate your profit is to redo your revenue model for the year. Hopefully you already have a revenue model, and a revenue model, some people call it a projections model. It's simply a 12-month Excel spreadsheet, basically laid out for 12 months to see, what you're projecting in terms of your monthly revenue, your monthly costs, your monthly gross margin, your static costs, and then your net profit, right? So you project it out for the year. And this, either you've done it or you haven't. If you haven't done it, I just want you to do one, right? If you've done one for the year, this is where you got to go back and really dig in, because what often is missed is people create projections, but they don't go back in and trim. So we want to see, like, what did you project and what was your actual, your actual revenue, your actual cost of sales, your actual static costs, and your actual net profit. Because if we can see a running total for the last, 6 months, you can see very quickly where you might need to make some adjustments to increase costs. So I constantly am doing this same stuff in my own business, right? Like, as I teach it, as I'm showing you, like, I'm living it on a daily basis. And Trisha and I just went through our costs for the last 6 months, really looking at, like, where are our money leaks? Like, where's the money going that's definitely not serving us, right? Where's the money just kind of leaking away? And one massive leak for us is software subscriptions. And I'm guessing some of you, if you have a service-based business, you can relate to this. We've had multiple CRMs at a time because they do different things. And it took us a while to find one CRM that does all the things that we need it to do. And also just kind of piecemealing things together, right? Technology has changed so much over the last couple of years that sometimes we had to Band-Aid a technology over here so this other thing could work, and then this thing could work, and thousands of dollars a month later, you're like, holy cow, like we are wasting so much money on software subscriptions. And so that's one of the things we've gone through in our business, one of the top things that stood out right away in terms of cutting costs. So that's why I want you to redo your revenue model or create a revenue model and then look back at the last 6 months. Like, what did you project you were going to do? And then what were your actuals in terms of your revenue and your cost of sales, your static costs, and your net profit? When you look at those costs, you're going to see patterns. You're going to see things that are popping up all the time. And, they're just sucking money out of your business. And sometimes we're working so hard to bring in more sales, but we forget that just by, paying attention to our costs and cutting in certain areas, we can boost our profitability. So that's strategy number one. Redo your revenue model or do it at all and pay special attention to your costs and your net profit to see where you can make some cuts. The second strategy in terms of really accelerating your profit now is to make sure you have a bookkeeper who understands profit. Now, I want to be really careful because there's many different types of bookkeeping and bookkeepers, and it kind of depends on where you are in your business and your business growth and your business trajectory. And the bookkeeper you're working with now is probably fine. You might want your bookkeeper to be doing some extra things for you though, so that you're really keyed in. Now, I love, and we haven't talked about this yet, but I love Michael Malkovitz's book, Profit First, and just all the work that he does around profit. I read his book, I don't know, maybe it was 10 years ago. Was it that long? And we've really tried to follow his way of thinking in terms of, paying yourself and looking at profitability first, because he really teaches that it's not just about revenue, it's also about profitability. And so over the years, we've kind of shifted around and we do work with a Profit First bookkeeper. We'll put a link in for Profit First, so you can just take a look if that feels of interest to you. We don't get anything for that. This is just a plug for Profit First, because I do feel like it's an area that's really missed for business owners. And you got to work with a bookkeeper that understands how important it is for you as a business owner to be looking at your costs every month, to be looking at your profitability, to be looking at your P&L report. And all of that needs to be done in a timely fashion. And there have been times in my business where that wasn't true. And man, that was painful. And that's when a lot of money was just going out the door because I wasn't paying attention to my costs. And so having a bookkeeper that's on top of those things for you is critical to the success and the health of your business and can really help you grow. I know another bookkeeper, actually a CPA friend of mine in California, used to, and I'm not sure if she does the same work, but during the Great Recession years ago, she actually did a report card on a regular basis for her clients, reporting. It was just like a one page. So you had your P&L report, profit and loss statement, right? But then she would also show you just a one pager on how profitable you were, and kind of she called it a report card. It was just like high level bullet points of things that you need to pay attention to. And I remember her always talking about how her clients grew during the Great Recession because she was helping them pay attention to those things. So having a bookkeeper and having a bookkeeper separate from your CPA, also really important, because it's just, then you have checks and balances. So having a financials team, a bookkeeper and a CPA who are focused on profit, are focused on ensuring that they're, watching costs with you, and, having a bookkeeper that's bringing things to you that you're not even thinking about, right? Like, oh, have you thought about this thing? Or recently my bookkeeper just said, she's like, hey, is it okay if I set up your subscriptions, your software subscriptions in a certain way so we can really keep an eye on a month to month and look at like where you can make some cuts? And I was like, yes. So she's bringing things to us to pay attention to. That's what you want in a bookkeeper. That's what you want in a CPA. We're not even talking about tax strategy right now, but having a separate tax strategist is also really powerful and helpful to look at all these things, like to take all those reports, right? To take your profit and loss statements, to take your your spending, like how much tax, how much you're putting away for taxes and everything, and have a tax strategist to talk about. Because we do run into clients who at the end of the year, they've got this big pile of money and they're like, I don't know what to do with this, right? Well, we want you really allocating that throughout the whole year. So it's not just something you focus on at the end of the year. So having that bookkeeping and CPA team is critical. The third strategy to really increase and accelerate your profits is to follow the 80-20 rule and really understand it. It's the 80-20 rule came from a guy, Pareto. It's also the Pareto principle, a gentleman from Italy. It's been a minute, gosh, at least 100 years since he created this and came up with this. And it actually came from his gardening because he noticed that 20% of his plants in his garden were producing like 80% of the abundance, right, that was coming through. And so the same is true for your business. The 80-20 rule applies. In fact, the client that I was talking about before, that was one of the questions I asked him, like, where does 80% of your business come from? Because I know with the Pareto principle that it comes from 20% of their clients, which really helped us quickly hone in on, who those clients are, who their ideal clients are, and if they really expanded in that area. Because what I was also asking is like, who are those profitable clients? Not just ideal, but who are the profitable clients? Where is that 80% of business coming from that's profitable? That was like taking a right turn, right, for them. Like all of a sudden the light bulbs went on. They were like, oh, it's this client, it's these clients over here. And I thought, okay, here we go, right? And so I asked them, I'm like, well, what's the opportunity there? How many other clients like that are there? And their faces just lit up. They're like, there's so many. We just haven't focused over there. And that's because that's how it is, right? We're just in the day-to-day in our business, so we don't ask these questions. And again, why working with a coach means you're 95% more likely to reach your goals is because your coach should be asking you these open-ended questions to really understand where your business is. So, for you as you're listening, 80% of your business is coming from 20% of your clients. Who are those 20%? And again, it's from a profitability. I don't want the 80% of business that's not profitable, right? I want it profitable business. Like, where's that 80% of profitable business coming from? It's coming from this 20% over here. When you dig in there, that's a quick way to accelerate your profit and really focus only on working with, that 20% and expanding that 20%, right? And that's what's really also going to accelerate your profits. The fourth strategy to accelerate your profits now is to make some cuts. As you know, you've listened to the show, I'm focused on top line revenue, sales, marketing, driving your business forward, right? Here we go. However, if you want to accelerate your profitability, I guarantee you there are cuts you need to make in your business right now. There are costs. We live in a subscription society. I was a little bit horrified to see some of the subscriptions that we still had. And it's totally my fault. It's on me because we're just moving 100 miles an hour and, just not taking the time to really look at those. And my bookkeeper is fairly new. So it's definitely she brought a lot of these things to my attention right away. So it's definitely not her fault. Totally my fault. I guarantee you, unless you've done this exercise, you have costs in your business. You have money leaks in your business that add up. I know because mine add up like thousands and thousands of dollars just stacked up. It's like, wow, what is this thing that I'm paying for over here? And, costs that seem like, oh, it's all like $50 here and it's $30 here. And, it's a lot of things are like $67. Oh, and at least a lot of my monthly subscriptions have gone up and no one told me. It wasn't like I got an email saying, hey, your subscription price is going to double. I don't remember getting those. So I look at those costs. I'm like, what? And then we even had some costs where people were still charging us for things that we had canceled. And that you got to keep an eye on that. I had a internet issue and we canceled and changed internet providers, but one of them, there was a final payment and somehow that final payment got lost. It ended up going to collections. I got a collections call on something. I was like, I didn't even know we still owed that. No one had notified us. They were cool about it. It didn't go to on my, my credit report or anything like that. We took care of it. But those are things like money leaks that are happening. And so every month, go through all your costs with your bookkeeper or your team, like whoever it is you're going to go, or both, right? And really ask, are we still using that? That is my number one question. If you talk to Trisha, she'll tell you that on the regular. I'm like, are we still using this? Or is there another software we have that could do the same thing that we haven't thought about, that we need to go ask some questions about, right? We still have a bit of duplication, but it's not $1,000 worth of duplication like it was before. And we're still fine tuning that every month go through those and make those cuts. Some people tell me they're not paying themselves enough or whatever. When you start to go through those cuts, you're going to see, ways that you can save money, and that money could be going to paying you. One thing I want to add to this is sometimes you got to move money around. So we talked about looking at this monthly and cutting costs. So let's go to the fifth strategy. Sometimes you got to leverage money. You got to leverage money to cut costs. If you have, high interest credit cards and you've got some, you're paying for something over here, it's like that, again, that's eating you up. The best advice I ever got about paying credit cards off is to have the snowball effect, right, of paying a smaller one off first. What I'll say about that is that can work. It can definitely work. You're focusing more money at one versus spreading it out. I would also look at if you can find 0% credit cards that you can move. If you have a credit card and you can move it over, there's so many offers right now. And if you have fairly decent credit, you can probably find one to move it. And I'm seeing offers at 0% because we look for these for our clients often at 0% for like 2 years. I saw one recently. You just have to do the research, and maybe it's just you need 12 months, but don't pay more than you need to, right? Like you might have to do it. Do weigh out though, like you have to pay a fee when you move something over to another card. Like just make sure that the interest isn't a better deal than, moving the money. But there's, the fifth strategy is just really finding ways to leverage money if you have some debt so that you can move it around. And, there's no shame in the game of debt. Everybody has it at one time or another. You're in business. It's a business expense. I don't like having debt. I don't think anyone does. So when I do get it, which happens sometimes, you just got to move the money around and figure it out. Like sometimes there's just slow times in the business or other people get behind on payments to you. Like I get it. Side note, if you don't have a line of credit, but you can get one through your bank. Most banks will give you a line of credit. I find a lot of people don't ask about this. The best time though, of course, to get your line of credit is when you don't need it, which might be right now. Maybe you're like financially everything's great, but you don't have that line of credit. And I've talked to 2 clients recently that didn't have them. And I just assumed everyone knew to get your line of credit so you have it. It's not because you want to use it, but it's typically less than a credit card. Like I see lines of credit 7 to 10%. Maybe you can get a better deal than that, but it's not going to be like a 25%, credit card. So it's there if it's like, I think of a, line of credit, if you need to make payroll, for example, and it's like, there's this delay in clients paying you and you need to make the payroll now. It's kind of like that little, bridge between where just where you are right now, what you need to pay, and like that, having that money in 2 weeks that's coming from the client so you can pay off the line of credit. So it's just nice to have. All right. We covered a lot in this session. I hope it was helpful for you because again, the 5 strategies. Number 1, redo your revenue model, get really clear on like the last 6 months of costs and, like your actuals and what you've projected and see what the differences are because you'll start to see the money leaks. Have a great bookkeeper or educate your bookkeeper and ask for what you need. A great tool, again, is the Profit First book. If they haven't read it, they can certainly read it. We'll put a link in the show notes for that. The third strategy is to follow the 80-20 rule because 80% of your business is coming from 20% of your clients. I guarantee that it is. So that can be an opportunity for you to expand and become more profitable by working with those more profitable clients. Fourth, look at where you can cut costs every month. Go do this monthly. Go through all your credit card statements, your bank statements with your CPA, with your team members, and just ask the question, are we still using that software? Do we still need that? Can we make that change over there? And really dig into that. And finally, sometimes you got to leverage cash, like move money around, find 0%, APRs that if you have a little bit of debt, you can move it over there. It just gives you more breathing room. You're not paying tons of interest. There's typically a fee though when you move it over. So, weigh that out. All right, everybody. I hope this was helpful for you. If you, and if you're looking for a community of CEOs who are making it happen and you'd love some coaching, like this is the time of the year, it's the fall, it's got that back to school feeling, right? Where we all want to finish strong in fourth quarter. Click the link and send in your application for the CEO table. You will also get, you'll receive our profit calculator to play with and kind of understand how profitable you are right now and where you want to be. All right, everybody, that's it for this week. Make this your most epic month yet. See you soon. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. If you loved what you heard, be sure to leave a review on iTunes so I know what you like and can create content that guides you to up-level your business even more. If you want more strategic business tips, follow me on social media. You'll find me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, and LinkedIn. And you can visit my website at www.ursulainc.co. I love being on this journey with you and can't wait to connect with you on the next episode. In the meantime, make this your most epic month yet.